Hello everyone, Star Ultros here, bringing you a new FFBE JP news update video. So today we are covering two units for the second banner of the current FF7 event going on, and a couple of new events that are dropping. Also, you might hear that my microphone finally sounds better. I decided to get off my lazy butt and get my actual good recording microphone that I had like in a closet somewhere, hanging there for like two years and never wanted to use it. So here it is, finally getting some airtime. So let's get right into it. So first we have Onyx Wings Sephiroth. So two things here. Yeti wanted to be special and name his favorite units, so he decided to call him Onyx Wings instead of Jet Black Wings, which is the literal translation of well, when you put it through the translator anyway, of the Japanese name. And he decided that Sephiroth had more than one wing as well, but he's gonna correct that because you know he's the famous one-winged angel after all. So enough with his name. Now we're gonna look at the categories first. I'm going back to my old style. So he has dark, obviously, fire, ice, which is a bit weird, and then wind, which is also weird because you know they're trying to push wind, so FF7 now is the wind the wind game. He's a breaker as well. He also is a rebel for some reason, harbinger of chaos, obviously, elite soldiers, sword masters, and also transcendent, which is getting a little bit more love lately, and we're going to see why in just a second. His TMR is the Masamune. This time it is going to be usable on him more than the Dark Vision's Katana, because it's a flat 1000 attack he gets on it, with a 206 base attack. And then there's also 75% machine killer on it. His STMR is a materia with 50% attack and magic, and also 100% killer for humans and fairies. So very, very nice for the 100% fairies here. You might want to grab multiple copies of it. I don't think human and fairy is a very common combo, but still having 100 for fairy killer is very good on something that gives you a little bit of stats on top of it. Vision card we're going to skip as usual. His EX ability at EX3 is a 50% over killer for humans. Obviously we're getting more and more of those because the Vision world right now is the final boss is a human. So just a little bit more here. In terms of his kit, well, first thing to note, he can equip swords, great swords, and katanas. So not only katanas this time around. So his kit, at EX1 he will get the 500% LB damage buff, and also an AoE dark amplify for 150%, which you know is nice, but there's better, I guess. But he's got that at EX1, and at EX2 is where the interesting stuff arrives, with the 300% amplify for fire and dark, for himself only, obviously. The rest of the kit, the usual in terms of these things. He is able to multicast certain abilities that he will unlock, except his big chaining ability, which is this one here. When you add all the buffs together, it, I think, equates to, I think that was 11,600 times modifier, which is pretty much the new normal for the big chaining ability. So yeah, by using these, he unlocks different skills that we're going to see later down the line, but that's just the regular chaining. Then this cooldown ability to give more modifier to this here, also give him 200% Omni Killer, and also give him 30 LB gauge for the third turn. So this is some auto casting. So turn 1 you cast this, turn 2 you get this, so you can use the chaining ability, and on turn 3 then you should be using his LB, and you're still gonna have the 200% Omni Killer. Also, he's got 100% amplify for all 4 of his elements on this as well. And this is on a 3-turn cooldown, and you can only start using it from turn 3, so after the first rotation of the LB, I guess. Then, well, this is available on turn 1 though. Then, the interesting part here, He has a one use only for 3 turns, a 91% defense and spirit break. So this is pushing the meta. Finally, we have something better than 90%. Here it goes. The floodgates are open. We're probably going to start seeing more and more of those, which is great. I'm very happy. It's very nice. Other than that, here he has an ability to grant some counter abilities to him, which is just like, you know, some damage counters, nothing too crazy. We're going to see down later. Something else here really, really interesting. He has on demand 90% defense and spirit break, which is also tied to 180 Imperil for all 4 of his elements. And he also has a on demand single target perfect dispel. So very, very good to have that on your DPS all the time. Anytime I see this, I'm very excited. Very good. It's not, you know, it's not AoE, but let's not be too nitpicking. You can multicast it if you need. Obviously at EX1, 2, and 3, he gets the new LB boost thingy, you know, with the buff for the first 5 turns, and also the cooldown buff. It's an extra 445 times modifier you add to the LB now, so get used to the new math. It's pretty much the same for everyone except Papua 3 weeks ago that decided to be different. He has, I think, yeah, he has 200% to all killers, as long as you got his TMR equipped. Otherwise, he has a boost ability. We don't really have the details of those just yet. Unfortunately, it just says boost attack. So you're gonna have to see for that when we log into the game in like 1 hour or so. But yeah, like you know, it has the fire image here, but it just says boost attack. So maybe it's just gonna be like a fire amplify or something. We'll have to see when we go in the game, and if we pull for him, obviously. Now, if we go look at his unlocked abilities, these are the unlocked abilities from his AMOE chain and BS chain that we had up there. So they're just slightly stronger, and they also fill the LB gauge for him. So you're gonna want to use that to fill his LB, along with his cooldown that would give him an extra 30 on top of it after 2 turns. And then this is his counter ability from the counter cooldown. So what's interesting about it is you get a 40% katana imperil from it, and you know, some damage, but since it's never going to be chaining because it's a counter, it's a little bit irrelevant. He has Endarga. Screws are their elements. I guess you need a friend if you want to imbue your team for those, or you need to have a team that's going to be compatible with it. His leader skill is for dark, so dark element units only, 1500% attack and magic. His overdrive is a 500% stat buff for elite soldiers, so a little bit like Aerith last week, but now for elite soldiers instead of rebels. His LB is a multi-element LB, so you get to choose the element you want to use between all 4 of them, and it is, once you add all the modifier buffs, 1725 times modifier, and there's nothing else really like worth mentioning on the LB itself. Otherwise, it's a AMOE chain, so that's pretty nice. So that's it for Sephiroth. For the 91% break alone, obviously I think it's worth it. You know, it looks like it's not that big a deal, but anytime we get an extra 1% off of those breaks, it's actually a pretty big deal for your damage. So that will make a difference in the damage you're going to be dealing, especially for, you know, the current Vision worlds going on, with him having special buffs for it because he's an FF7 unit. So up to you if you want. I would suggest he can fit, you know, on a fire team. He can fit on a wind team if you decided to go all in for FF7. I guess that is actually doable. Otherwise, you know, he's pretty strong, and he can also chain with non-elemental here. So you can basically imbue him with whatever you want, and it's going to work, so long as the leader skill works. Now the next one is Atoning Gunslinger Vincent. So finally we're getting an NV Vincent. It's been way overdue for so long. He's always been one of a fan favorite unit. It's kind of weird that it took so long that we finally got a unit for him, but here it is. So his categories are Fire, Lightning, Wind, and Dark. So has Everfrost pointed out on the Discord, it is the same categories as Hyo got, except it's Wind on top of it. And you're going to see that he also pretty much copies Hyo in something else that he does. His other categories are Rebellion, Gathering, Elite Soldiers, and Transcendent, and this is where it's going to be relevant, so let's just hold on a couple minutes until we go and look at it. His TMR is a materia with 50% Beast and Fairy Killer, so we can expect more fairies to kill soon because both Sephiroth and him have Fairy Killers. And it's a 70% attack as well, so that's pretty good for a TMR that you might get multiple copies of. I think Fairy is something rare enough that you want to have more usually. His STMR is a gun, two-handed for 253 attack, very good, but he gets only 500 flat attack from it. And it's also 100% human killer, so once again for the current Vision worlds, it's amazing. And human is a very popular enemy type, so you're probably gonna be seeing a lot of use of this. If only there were more gun users, because besides maybe lightning, I don't see too many other relevant units using them. But that's always gonna be good on your Vincent. Anyway, Vision card, who cares? His EX ability is a 50% overkiller for Reapers, so that's another one there. Now for his kit, at EX1 he only gets the 500% LB damage. Then the fun stuff arrives at EX2, where he gets 300% Fire Amplify for himself, and also a 250 Fire and Wind Imperil. So you can retire Reagan if you were using him for the Imperil if you have an EX2 Vincent, and it might allow you to mesh together a Fire and a Wind team. Then the rest of the kit, is the usual, as I always say. Yeah, he can multicast everything. Where he starts looking like Hyo is here. He does have a 75% Imperil field for all 4 of his elements. So if you were using Hyo for the Imperils, well, for the Imperil field, there you go, he just lost his job. So Vincent's doing a much better job at it because he's adding wind to it. But like if you're not pulling for Vincent, and you have Hyo, he's still very serviceable anyway in terms of damage and imperils and everything. Like, I'm not saying that he's bad, it's just an extra element is always, better for versatility. And don't we love versatility? Now he also has a cooldown for 180 Imperil to Fire, Lightning, Wind, and Dark. It's kind of sad, that he gets this on a cooldown, while Sephiroth literally has it like on demand at 180 for Fire, Wind, and Dark. So there's basically only Lightning that he adds to the equation there. And you're always gonna have somebody else to deal better in peril anyway for a big burst. If it's for a longer fight, well, there you go. It's gonna be not interesting, but it's gonna be useful to have. He also has something here to give himself more accuracy. It's rarely relevant, but it's there, and also increases LB fill rate, which can be nice when you don't have anything to do, so you can give him that to refill his LB faster. He has a Magnus ability for once per fight to get a 60% apparel to great swords, katanas, staff who cares, rods, spears, instrument and throwing weapon who cares, guns and fists. So that's very good for people in FF7, because you're gonna have Cloud, you're gonna have Sephiroth, you're gonna have Aerith, you're gonna have Vincent, you're gonna have Tifa, who are all gonna be covered by this. Throwing weapons, I mean, if you're using Yuffie, by all means, she's gonna have some imperil there. No one uses instruments yet until we get Kate Sith, I guess. Spears, that would be for Sid, but poor Sid, never getting a unit in FFBE ever. But it's there. and a staff in case you were using a staff on Aerith, but that's not really something we've been doing for a while now. He also has on a 7-turn cooldown though, so this is probably just going to be for one burst. A 200% beast and human killer for himself and a friend. So once again, very good for the current vision world. So you know, they're selling the unit for the current event as they usually do. His chaining ability is a little different than Sephiroth. So as you've noticed in the kid, there's no like clear chaining cooldown stuff. So it's because he gets modifier buffs for these things, and I think all in all becomes something like 10,000 times modifier. So we got 400 here. What else do we get? We got this here in his passive that will give him some skills to get more modifiers. He does have the LB stuff at EX 1, 2, 3, like everyone from now on. So this is the skill he gets on turn 1 of the fight. Well, not turn 1, but at the beginning of the fight. Once he casts this, he's going to get a 400% stat buff, a resistance to sleep, paralyze, and petrify. They didn't get other ailments that would be good, but you know, at least he gets that. Also a 50,000 HP barrier, 75% general mitigation, so that's pretty good. And you know, like, it's not cloud type barrier with 10 million, but it's still pretty good. But it's only for himself, and it also enables the second skill to cast on the next turn, which is the ability that will give you more modifiers for your ability. It also gives 150 amplify to all his elements, and then it re-allows you to cast the first ability, so you can get into the rotation again. So this is something that you can keep going, like 150 amplify on him basically at all times, so long as you keep the rotation going. So that's very, very good. It also fills his LB a little bit and gives him 300% LB damage buff in case you've already used your Magnuses and it's a longer fight. It's pretty useful. So this plus the EX2 buff, was it EX2? No, it was EX1. So EX1 buff is 3050 plus this one. That's 10,500 times modifier for his chaining. Unfortunately, there's no non-elemental. It's always going to be for these abilities, so either fire, thunder, wind, or dark, because this is not included in the ability modifier buff that I noticed. It is not. just checking in case. Now his leader skill is finally for the Transcendent, but if you want to get the full thing, it has to be Transcendent and Fire. There is quite a lot of Transcendent units that also have Fire, but it's more limiting. But it's starting, we already got like a lot of quests for Transcendent units, and we always needed to kind of mesh together with other leader skills. Now we finally have a leader skill to unite them all together. Not really because they need to be Fire, never mind what I said. But more representation for Transcendent units, I guess. And now his overdrive skill, because there were both overdrive units in this batch, is also for Transcendent units. It's a 150% stat buff, a 30% damage buff, like category damage buff, and also a 50% damage buff, damage amplify, sorry. But it's the area, so the middle field, like Cloud and Zac, and like Esper Rain and Squall, so we're getting more and more of those. And I'm sure I forgot another one, but like the middle field. His LB is fire only, unfortunately, and it's also 1725 times. Nothing else to really like talk about on the ability, otherwise that it's a AMOE chain as well, which is pretty much the norm. You either have AMOE or the 5-hit LB, or if you're really unlucky, you're gonna get BS. Because nowadays, BS is not really used anymore. Bolting Strike isn't very popular anymore. So that's it for the units. Vincent, definitely not as good as Sephiroth in my opinion. but he can still be pretty good for sustained damage with his 150 amplify that he can keep on himself at all times for all 4 of his elements. So that's pretty nice. Now for the events, so we have a raid event. I know we just came off of the Papua raid event, and now we were doing the Mog King, and now it's back to a new raid event right away. So you know, get in there, use your raid potions. You probably have like 1,000 of them by now, and go get as much Cactuar as you need because the NV plus units are very thirsty, like me. And now we also have a weapon quest. I didn't notice for who it was, actually. I don't think their page said. Oh, good, because it's not for a unit, sorry, it's a materia. Might be another human overkiller. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see, but we're gonna go and fight. I think that's Vincent, right? Yeah, I think that's one of Vincent transformation. It says here that it would be for fire category units, or at least that they're gonna get a stat buff. So we'll see. Then we have the maze, what's that called? The maze of illusion or something. Yeah, actually, illusion something. So the place where you go and fight like stat pots 3-4 times, and then you escape once a day, and you get some lapis out of it. So don't forget to do it every day. And we're also getting a rerun of a pretty old event. So this was for 7-star White Lily Dark Fina, something like this. So the 7-star Dark Fina. So you can go and do the story event and get. Usually they reset the lapis for it. So even if you were around when that released, you're gonna go and get the lapis there, no problem. You might also get some of those log quartz that you can exchange in the 4th tab of the 3rd tab, sorry, of the summons. And you always wonder, like, where can I get more? There you can get more. And yeah, that's about it for the new things we're getting on this update. Maybe one thing I'd like to cover is do not forget to go and get your Vision Worlds reward once you clear the final boss a single time. No matter your score, so long as you kill it, you can go and clear with the middle banner. Like I don't have visual because the game is under maintenance right now, but don't forget on the main page there's the little banner at the middle that keeps switching to other stuff. So the first thing you're gonna see there is gonna say Mina de Mission in Japanese, if you can read Japanese. Otherwise it's kind of useless that I say that, but you're gonna see like lapis and stuff there and tickets. So go click there and go get your rewards, because it's a free 5,000 lapis that you get, and I think something like 6 or 7 tickets that you can go use on the 2nd tab, those dark vision tickets. Don't forget to go and get them, because it's some free rewards, and maybe it could get you a good unit. Who knows? You might be lucky. So thank you for joining me once again, and see you in the next one. Bye!